At 2,000 meters, a pale animal carries a retractable, hook-covered organ on its forehead. Why it needs that structure is the final secret of this descent, and every creature on the way down makes the answer feel less impossible. 300 meters below the surface, sunlight is already fading when the first mystery appears. A whale's skeleton lies across the seafloor, stripped of almost everything recognizable. Yet the bones seem to be growing red-tipped filaments, as though the carcass has sprouted veins. They belong to Osedax, the zombie worm. The visible plumes are only the entrance. Most of the animal is hidden inside the bone, where branching, root-like tissue spread through the whale's remains. An adult female has no mouth, no stomach, and no anus. She doesn't bite the skeleton. She penetrates it, secreting acid that helps dissolve the mineral around the nutrients sealed within. Inside those roots live symbiotic bacteria. They help the worm exploit fats and proteins, including collagen, locked away after ordinary scavengers have finished feeding. A whalefowl can nourish deep-sea communities for years, and Osedax arrives for one of the final courses. Then, the closer horror emerges. The large worms are female. The males of many Osedax species are microscopic dwarfs, living inside the female's gelatinous tubes, sometimes in groups. They retain a larval-looking body and exist largely to produce sperm. One animal becomes a red-plumed excavation machine. The other may never grow beyond a speck sheltered within her home. Encountering them wouldn't feel like meeting a predator. It would feel like finding a process. Bone is being converted back into living tissue, quietly and efficiently, in water too dark to reveal the work without a lamp. Death falls from above. Osedax opens it from within. But the slope keeps falling, and the bones disappear behind us. Near 1,000 meters, pressure passes 100 times that at the surface. The last weakened traces of daylight are gone. Here, an umbrella drifts over the mud, lifted by two fins that resemble ears. This is a Dumbo Octopus, a member of the genus Grimpotuthis. It doesn't charge through the water like the muscular octopuses of coastal reefs. Its body is soft, gelatinous, and built for an environment where every movement must justify its cost. The paired fins provide gentle propulsion. The arms are joined by a broad web, forming a bell that can open and close as the animal glides. Along each arm are suckers and delicate structures called cirri. They help handle small prey taken from the bottom or intercepted in the water, worms, amphipods, isopods, and other animals small enough to disappear whole into the octopus's mouth. Unlike many shallow water octopuses, Grimpotuthis has no ink sac. Ink is useful when an attacker can see a cloud and become confused by it. In total darkness, producing it would be expensive theater for an audience without light. Its defense is restraint. It hovers. It changes direction with barely a pulse. It can draw its web around itself, becoming compact and difficult to seize. That almost tender appearance is what makes the encounter unsettling. The fins flap like the ears of a storybook animal, but beneath them hangs a silent net of arms closing over prey in black water. Honestly, this one kept me up, not because it's violent, but because it seems so calm in a place that should crush the idea of calm. The octopus fades above us. Far below, something is tending a garden without sunlight. Around 1,050 meters, the seafloor begins leaking methane-rich fluids. The water is cold, the sediment barren, and yet pale crabs gather around the seep with their claws raised. This is Kiwa puravita, one of the animals known as Yeti crabs. Its claws and mouthparts are covered in dense bristles called setae. Those setae carry communities of bacteria that obtain energy through chemosynthesis, using chemicals released at the seep rather than sunlight. The crab repeatedly wades its appendages through the flowing water, exposing its bacterial crop to oxygen and reduced chemicals. It looks like a warning display. It is closer to farming. The motion helps cultivate the microbes, and the crab harvests them with specialized mouthparts. In a world without plants, it has turned its own body into growing space. The shaggy claws aren't fur, and they aren't decoration. They are living acreage. Kiwa puravita was discovered near methane seeps off Costa Rica. Its name means pure life, a phrase that sounds almost cheerful until a submersible lamp catches dozens of them performing the same slow, repetitive movements. Pale arms lift, pale arms fall, bacteria multiply in the hairs. The unsettling part is how complete the arrangement is. The crab carries its food source, tends it, and eats from it. No sunlit ecosystem needs to send a leaf this far down. Chemistry seeps from the planet, microbes capture it, and the crab comes dinner from its own claws. An observer would see no chase and hear no struggle. Only cultivation at the edge of poisoned sediment. Then the seep vanishes behind a ridge and the water column opens beneath us. At 1,200 meters, a thin black shape hangs vertically, almost indistinguishable from a drifting scrap. A light reaches it. The head turns and the mouth unfolds. The pelican eel, Eurypharynx pelicanoides, possesses a jaw vastly larger than its narrow body seems able to support. The skull is reduced and flexible. The enormous mouth can open into a pouch-like trap, allowing the eel to engulf prey that would otherwise be difficult for such a slender hunter to capture. But no, wait, it isn't simply an endless stomach with teeth. That popular image misses the stranger truth. Its teeth are small, and the animal isn't built to overpower gigantic victims. In the sparse deep sea, a huge gape increases the chance that a passing fish, squid, or crustacean can be enclosed before the opportunity escapes. The eel's body tapers into an extraordinarily long tail. Near its tip is a luminous organ that can produce a reddish glow, and observations suggest the tail may be positioned in ways that could attract or investigate prey, although much of its natural hunting behavior remains difficult to witness directly. That uncertainty belongs to the horror. Scientists know the machinery but rarely see the full performance. A submersible encounter begins with something thread-like. Then, the jaws expand, changing the proportions of the animal so suddenly that the eye struggles to reconcile the two shapes. There is no roar. Water offers too much resistance for drama like that. The mouth simply becomes the largest fact in the scene. Food is scarce here. Evolution hasn't made the pelican eel furious. It has made missing a meal less likely. We descend, and time itself begins to behave strangely. At 1,500 meters, a heavy silhouette moves just above the bottom. Its tail sweeps slowly. Its skin is dark, its eyes small, and its pace seems almost funereal. The Greenland shark, Somniosus microcephalus, is one of the longest-lived vertebrates known. Radiocarbon analysis of proteins formed in the lenses of its eyes indicates that large females may live for centuries. One famous study estimated the oldest sampled shark at roughly 392 years, though with a wide margin of uncertainty. That means a shark alive now may have been born before industrialization, before modern biology, perhaps before anyone knew such an animal existed. Its extreme longevity is tied to a life lived cold and slow. Greenland sharks grow at an exceptionally low rate, around a centimeter per year, and females may not reach sexual maturity until well over a century old. Their metabolism and swimming speed match the near-freezing water, though they can still feed on fish, carrion, and marine mammals. Many carry the copepod Omatocoeta elongata attached to an eye. The parasite damages the cornea and can impair vision, but the shark operates in darkness where smell and other senses remain valuable. Claims that the parasite acts as a glowing lure aren't supported by good evidence. The reality is colder, it feeds from the shark's eye and stays there. Its flesh also contains high concentrations of trimethylamine oxide. Eaten untreated, it can cause serious intoxication. The shark passes without urgency. That's the chilling detail. It doesn't need urgency. Entire human lifetimes fit inside its slow movement through the Arctic dark. Beneath it, the sediment starts walking. At 1,600 meters, the seabed appears scattered with swollen pink bodies. They have no visible faces. Several move on rows of tube feet, their soft forms pressing forward through sediment like organs that have escaped a larger animal. These are sea pigs, deep-sea cucumbers in the genus Scotoplanes. Their inflated bodies are supported by water pressure and internal fluid. Long tube feet raise them above the mud, while tentacles around the mouth probe and collect the upper layer of sediment. That mud contains what remains of life overhead, fragments of plankton, fecal material, mucus, and organic particles drifting down as marine snow. The sea pig eats the seafloor itself, sorting nutrition from debris. It often travels in the direction from which fresh organic material arrives, responding to chemical cues in the sediment. Where a carcass or a pulse of food reaches the abyssal plain, groups may gather in surprising numbers. What looks empty from a distance becomes a feeding ground covered in moving pink forms. And they aren't insignificant cleaners. Deposit-feeding sea cucumbers continually process sediment, disturbing and oxygenating its surface while recycling nutrients. The abyss would function differently without mouths like these passing through it. A close encounter strips away their almost comic name. Their bodies are translucent enough for internal structures to show through. The tube feet flex. Oral tentacles push mud inward. There are no eyes watching the submersible because eyes would offer little here. They don't stalk living prey. They wait for the ever ocean to shed. Every meal is evidence that something far above has died, defecated, or fallen apart. The plane slopes lower. Suddenly, color appears where color should no longer matter. At 1,800 meters, bands of electric blue and green race along the sides of a transparent body. It looks as if the animal contains its own storm. It is a comb jelly, one of the ctenophores. The racing rainbows aren't necessarily bioluminescence. They're produced when the submersible's light is diffracted by 8 rows of beating cilia called comb plates. These cilia propel the animal, making ctenophores the largest animals whose main form of locomotion depends on ciliary beating. Many species can also produce light chemically, but the shimmering spectrum seen under a lamp is a different phenomenon. It is borrowed illumination, broken into color by thousands of synchronized structures. Most comb jellies capture prey using colloblasts, adhesive cells that stick to small animals. They are not the stinging cells of jellyfish. A copepod touches a tentacle, adheres to it, and is carried toward the mouth. Some ctenophores lack long tentacles and engulf other gelatinous animals directly. Their beauty hides a body built almost entirely for open water. No shell, no bones, little protection from mechanical damage. Bringing many deep-sea ctenophores to the surface can destroy their natural form because temperature and pressure change, and nets can tear them into unrecognizable slime. So the living animal remains an apparition best witnessed where it belongs. Comb, rose, pulse. The body is nearly absent. Prey sticks to invisible lines. Then the lights turn downward one final time, toward the animal with the secret on its forehead. At 2,000 meters, the pale figure rises from the black. It is a pointy-nosed blue chimera, Hydrologus trolli, one of the deep-water fishes commonly called ghost sharks. But it isn't a true shark. Chimeras belong to an ancient cartilaginous lineage that separated from the ancestors of sharks and rays hundreds of millions of years ago. Its eyes reflect the submersible's light. Networks of sensory canals and pores cover the head, helping it detect movement and weak electrical signals produced by other animals. Instead of rows of replaceable shark teeth, it has permanent tooth plates used to crush and grind prey such as crustaceans and other bottom-dwelling invertebrates. A spine rises before the first dorsal fin and can deliver venom. Then the forehead structure appears. Adult male chimeras possess a cephalic tenaculum, a retractable appendage armed with small hooks or tooth-like tentacles. During mating, it helps the male grip the female. Paired claspers near the pelvic fins also transfer sperm, while additional grasping structures assist in holding position. The mystery isn't a weapon designed for hunting. It is reproductive anatomy, folded into the head of an animal already equipped with crushing plates, electroreception, and a venomous spine. In the deep sea, mates may be widely scattered and encounters infrequent. Losing contact can mean losing an entire reproductive opportunity. Evolution's answer is grip. Secure the body. Do not drift apart. The chimera turns sideways, revealing a tapering tail and broad fins that seem to row it through the darkness. It has survived not by becoming a monster, but by becoming exquisitely suited to conditions humans can barely visit. And that may be worse. Only a fraction of the deep ocean has ever been seen directly, and every descent reveals lives shaped by pressures, hungers, and timescales the surface world was never built to understand. New horrors surface every week. Subscribe so you don't miss them.